Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Ashley will be joining me in just a little bit. The holidays and winter season are really difficult, as you know, for so many. There's a weight. Some people have like a darkness of depression, and they're hopeless this time of year sometimes. Screenwriter and author Chris Easterly is here to share there is an ever-present light.
Depression can feel like a mental prison, a dark hallway impossible to escape. Chris Easterly knows the struggle firsthand. In his new book, The Darkness Did Not Overcome, he shares his journey with living with clinical depression while walking with Christ. From moments of despair to quiet encounters with God, Easterly offers an honest look at struggle, faith, and healing, reminding readers that even in the dark times, hope remains and you are not alone.
Really important message that Chris Easterly has put together. And the darkness, here's the key, did not overcome. Chris, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. It's a short book, but it's powerful. And I want to thank you because not a lot of believers in Christ will come out and say, this was a real struggle for me. I mean, I think people are getting a little more transparent, but this is going to speak to a lot of people who follow the Lord and say, you know, I deal with this sometimes. What's wrong with me? Are you finding people responding to that type of message?
Yeah, I think one reason I wanted to write it is, you know, especially in the Christian culture, we often hear like, you just need to pray harder or read your Bible more or go to church more. And the problem is, you know, those are all great things to do. And I did those, but depression is a physical illness, you know, it's in the brain. And so it's okay to seek treatment for it. So I felt like I just wanted to be vulnerable in the book. And I didn't want it to be like a self-help book or a medical manual. It's just my story, because I hope people relate to stories, you know.
Yeah, and you weren't just like, hey, medicate yourself, you'll be better. You talk about the importance of prayer and fellowship, and we'll get to some of that. You also learned on this journey that maybe you didn't know early in life, but your family had struggled with this a bit, right?
Yeah. Looking back, I talk about this in the book, but I think, you know, my grandparents had depression. And then I found out later in life when I got depressed, I found out that in her 20s, my mother had been hospitalized briefly for depression. And then my dad, when he got back from 3 tours in Iraq, you know, fell into a clinical depression. And so I think there's definitely can be a genetic component to it. And
I want people to know the book doesn't just make an excuse like, hey, if it's in your family, you're going to have it. Nothing like that. But I think the Lord, through therapy and counseling, started to reveal some family history for you. You've kind of discovered the Lord, I believe, at about 16, right? But when after that was there, I believe there was one moment where you were getting in your car and just kind of collapsed. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was kind of like a tipping point because I had been feeling depressed for a while and just kind of like a constant sadness for no discernible reason. Like my life was going pretty well, you know, I was living my dream job as a Hollywood TV writer. And
that's tough to get into.
Yeah, it is. And then, you know, relatively happy marriage, physically healthy. And so I was like, why am I just sad all the time and feeling like, you know, I'm going to cry at the drop of a hat and no energy, no focus. And so I remember getting in my car one morning to go to work. And before I could start it up, I just burst into tears, you know, and it just felt this oppression like in my brain and my chest and this sadness. And so, you know, I wiped my tears away and I put on a strong face and drove to work. But that was one of the moments where I realized, like, I really need to seek some kind of treatment.
There's a problem here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I think, have situations like that. They have an emotional breakdown, whatever, but then they go about their day and put the mask on and people don't see it. So how do you counsel people? Maybe they're in that place, right? Like, what's a step to take if they're in that, like, emotional collapse stage?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, it's multifaceted, treatment is. So I tried therapy. I went to a couple talk therapists, and it was helpful. Like you mentioned, I learned some stuff about my family of origin and all that. But the problem was the depression just didn't lift. And so ultimately, I decided, like, I need to try medication. And so I tried a couple medications that weren't effective. And then finally, I found a combination of Zoloft and Abilify.
And of course, we're not medical doctors, so we're not directing you any particular drug.
No, not at all. This is just what worked for me. So 2 weeks after taking that combo of meds, I woke up one morning and just felt well, like not super happy, just not super sad. And so I'm really thankful for that. And I still take medication today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is room for medicine in those types of things.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting in your book is, I don't know if this was because of counseling and therapy sessions, but you penned letters to children. There was some miscarriages in your first marriage, right? That was kind of therapeutic. Can you explain what you did? That was interesting.
Yeah, that was another moment where God kind of showed me that he was with me, you know. I took a 3-day retreat at a monastery about 2 hours north of LA. And I wasn't really sure why I was going. I just wanted to get away for a little while. And so when I was there, suddenly out of nowhere, it had been about 3 years, memories of the miscarriages just kind of rushed in. And I started crying. And so I decided to write letters to those children who I never got to meet. So I said hello and goodbye and, you know, named them. And so after it was all over, I was like this slobbery mess, crying and stuff. And so I left the room and I walked down the hall to the monastery's Coke machine. Monasteries have Coke machines. So
Salad does.
yeah. And at the time, Coke had this marketing where they would put a name on the side of the can. So it would say like Andrew or Jenny or, you know, best friend. And so I put my 2 quarters in there, the Diet Coke can fell out, and on the side it said Dad.
Oh,
and so that was like, you know, I'm not one to put my faith primarily in like signs like that, but I really couldn't deny that that was God saying, look, I'm with you. Yeah. You know, I feel your pain. I'm never gonna forsake you, you know.
Yeah. And you got pain out.
Yeah, I got pain out. And I would say that moment wasn't depression per se. It was more unresolved grief, but that's the thing, is we're all, you know, we're biochemical, we're spiritual, we're physical. And so depression and grief can be mixed up together. And it's, you know, sometimes a gradual process. Like you said, you release that pain, you know, and it kind of came out of nowhere. And then you move on and then you'll release more pain. And but
now, you went on a retreat, however, and that was beneficial in a number of ways. It's really bad, is it not, when people are feeling depressed, sadness, and isolate themselves? I mean, you talk about this a bit in here. That's dangerous.
It is dangerous, yeah. And sometimes you feel like all you want to do is just lay in bed, and last thing you want to do is go smile at a party or something. But it's very important to have people who care about you. Like when I was going through depression, I was in LA, my dad was in Kentucky, but as soon as he heard that when I kind of confessed finally that I was struggling with it, he jumped on a plane and flew out. And I didn't really want him to come because I wanted to be alone. But it really helped that he was there, and he just kind of let me be, you know, didn't try to heal it or fix it or anything like that.
And maybe that's a lesson to us, whereas someone who's in a similar situation, if we hear them say, don't visit, don't come over to, you know, maybe they don't always know what's best for them. Why is the book called And the Darkness Did Not Overcome?
Well, it's based on what Jesus said, you know, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome. And that title just kind of stuck out to me because the darkness is real, you know, but there's light in it too. And I want people to know that healing and hope are just as real as suffering and sadness.
So last question for people watching, maybe they do know the Lord, but they're feeling this heaviness. What's your counsel for them moving forward? I know you only have a little bit of time here, but how do you tell them to advance or try and advance?
I would just say, first of all, don't be ashamed. There's no shame in having a sickness. You know, we all get sick. And I think it's almost a moral obligation to seek treatment for it, you know. The Bible, Proverbs 17:22, I think, says a cheerful heart does good like medicine. So it's okay to seek medical help, therapy, surround yourself with loving people, all kinds of things we could talk about, but like exercise, nutrition, you know. Elijah was depressed to the point of being suicidal. And Angel told him, just, you know, go take a nap and here's some food. And then he felt better. So
yeah. And you're right. I mean, that first step of not being ashamed, telling someone, can go a long way. The book is called And the Darkness Did Not Overcome by Chris Easterly. Some great insights for people here. Want to let you know you can go to chriseasterlybooks.com. There's some other writings of his, or of course wherever books are sold. Chris, thank you for being with us.
All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.